Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today's session. I am Vishal Saraswat. I am the host. I am the leader at Gurgaon Salesforce Developer Group, and I will be hosting today's session. So today we are back with another series of sessions. This will be a hands-on workshop, and this time we are on the Service Cloud series. So the speaker for today's session is Krishan Kumar Yadav. He is a 7x Salesforce certified consultant. He is working as senior Salesforce developer at Cognizant. He is an integration explorer. He is a community speaker with Trailhead Mentor, and you can connect with him on LinkedIn and Twitter on the following handles. I am Vishal Saraswat. I am 3x Salesforce certified. I am a leader at Gurgaon Salesforce Developer Group. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and Twitter on the following links, which I have provided in this slide. We came into existence in January 2013. You can connect with us on Twitter. The link is provided in the slide. That is Gurgaon underscore SFDC. You can easily find on the Twitter. The hashtag is hash Gurgaon Easy and hash Trailblazer community. You can connect with us on the Trailblazer community group. The link is provided. And recently we have created the YouTube channel on which we are uploading the recording of each and every sessions. So I would like to request you to please subscribe to us so that you can get the notification of the new video which we uploaded. And we have recently started the Telegram channel to share the recent updates about the sessions or the other things with you. So you can easily connect with us on the Telegram channel as well. So here comes the our hands-on workshop initiative. So the reason behind the hands-on workshop initiative is that nowadays we are unable to see any kind of hands-on workshop series as we are all are doing sessions virtually. As you all know, due to COVID-19, we are doing the sessions virtually currently. So main aim of arranging the hands-on workshop series is to help each and everyone in the Trailblazer community so that they can get good hands-on practice in a topic by which they can master himself or herself. We are looking all of your support in this initiative so that it can reach out to maximum number of people so that they can take benefit from this hands-on workshop initiative. If you want to take part in this initiative, then we would be more than happy to you. Okay. As you all know that in this series, we are giving away the certification voucher. We are giving away 2 certification voucher in this series. So the rules for the certification voucher is this. You need to complete the assignment and submit to us as soon as possible. You need to attend all 5 sessions as we will evaluate the points in every session after we get the submission from your side. And top 2 performer in this series will get the certification voucher. So the rule is that you need to shoot a 10-minute video, minimum 10-minute video, or if you can do, then it would be with you and share it with us. The video needs to focus on these 3 points. What was the use case for which you shoot the video? What you have done to complete the assignment with proper demonstration of the solution you have provided against the use case? How was the assignment and what's your feedback regarding this session? This video needs to have full screen recording with current timing. You need to upload the recording on your Google Drive with a separate today's session folder and share the edit access with us. At the end of session, we will share a Google form with which you need to fill and submit to us with your RSVP ID, means the registration ID, where you on trailblazer-community-groups.com you RSVP for this session. So you get the confirmation email. So from where you can get the RSVP ID and Google Drive folder link, share link you need to submit. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Now I would like to hand over this stage to Krishan. Krishan, over to you.
Thank you, Vishal. Thanks. Thank you all once again. First of all, I would like to thank Vishal to giving me this opportunity to contribute something for the community as well. Because nowadays it's a like tough situation for everyone. Right now, it's a COVID is like again hitting. Uh, the circumstances which we are following right now, everybody having like some kind of fear like related to the COVID, and then how we gonna cope up and other stuff. So but still we are back together. We are at the same path right now. So before I starting my PPT sessions, I just like to know like how many people are developer here, admin here, like just write your whatever you are right now, like are you a learner or you already learn about the
Krishan,
Salesforce?
Krishan, I think we can start the polls first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, I am starting the polls. Just a minute.
Meanwhile, I will share my
I have
screen.
started the poll.
Okay,
Krishan, can you
great.
please confirm if you are able to see the poll?
Yeah, I can see the poll. Yeah.
So guys, please provide your response as soon as possible. We are waiting for your response. It would be beneficial for us to find the how much year of experience you are having, how you are comfortable in the Salesforce.
I I think 80% people are already uh, completed the
Mm,
poll.
Yeah, Krishan, I think
Uh,
we can wait for 1 more minute, right?
yeah. So we also have a SAP consultant. Great.
Guys, please provide your response as soon as possible.
Okay, I will share my screen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Krishan.
Yeah. Let me know once it's visible.
Yeah, Krishan, I can see your screen. I think we are not getting any responses now, so we can end the poll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, over to you, Krishan.
Yeah, I guess that the responses we are just got from the audience, like it's like more people are like nowadays not a fresher because they started already learning about the Salesforce platform through the community group, through the virtual session, and through the in-person event as well. And also that there are a lot of blogs and YouTube session also, so people are also watching those sessions. So that's pretty good statics. Before I start my session, I just like to highlight some of the points. Uh, I think someone is waiting in the waiting room. Vishal, could you please admit?
I can't see anyone. I have already admitted.
Okay. Okay, so myself, Krishna Kumar Yadav. I'm working as a senior Salesforce developer at Cognizant. This is my Twitter handler. If anybody want to connect with me, they can connect me directly on the Twitter handler or maybe on LinkedIn. So before starting the Service Cloud journey, I just like to know like how many people know about the Service Cloud and what it is. Like just a short answer will be fine for me. If anybody want to unmute herself or himself, they can go ahead and they can just or maybe you can write in a chat window. Okay, so managing support and case management. Okay, what else? Case auto response rule, escalation rule, service cloud for customer support, workforce management. Okay, providing service and support to what we developed, provide support and maintenance, customer supports, track services, service offered to customers. Okay, we can handle ticket tool through service management to clients. Okay, provide support for customers. Okay, overall it's a service support part of industry. Routing cases. Okay, provide support after product has been delivered. Okay, so I guess that people have a pretty much idea like why the service cloud come into the journey, why Salesforce launched the service cloud, because they already have a sales cloud. Why they need a service cloud now? Because as everybody just explained that what is service cloud. So after, in the today's scenario, just selling is not enough. After the selling, you have to maintain your customer throughout the journey. You have to solve his or her query related to the in terms of like how to use the product, or maybe sometime the product or services get damaged while delivering to the customer doorstep, or maybe like once you deliver the product or services, person does not know like how to use it. So to give them a after sales support, uh, Salesforce just introduced service cloud. The service cloud main agenda here, like which I'm going to explain here, like why Salesforce introduced service cloud and what we are get like out of the box functionality inside that service cloud, which are here. So our today's agenda is like uh, I'm going to give you a brief introduction about the service cloud, what it is, and what is the case management inside the service cloud, what are the different channels through which we can generate the case record inside a Salesforce using a email to case and then web to case, and what are the automation channels like we can use to assign the case to the support agent, or that how we can send the auto response rule to the customers, and if any support agent does not able to solve the queries on time, then how we can escalate and how we can assign to the another user, or maybe the same user, or maybe sometime it can be a technical department. So this is the today's agenda of our first session, which I'm going to explain you shortly. So, what is the service cloud? As everybody just told me, like what is service cloud? But in a broader way, like Salesforce offer service cloud as a software as a service. It's a SaaS service where Salesforce have created a software, and it just give us a platform where we can use that software as a service. So Sales Cloud built on the Salesforce customer platform. First of all, it's built on top of the Salesforce platform. It gave us a 360-degree view for the customer. What it means like 360-degree view, it means like we can capture any information. We can interact with the customer globally. We can capture any information uh, throughout the journey, and after capturing those information, we can track the service record, like this customer bought this product or services on this day, and after buying those services or product, he or she have this issues while using those product and services, and we have provide this solution to the customer. So after getting this solution, customer is happy to use that product or services. So whatever from starting point till the end point, whatever happening throughout the journey from selling to services, we are capturing those information inside a service cloud. So when we are capturing those information, it give us a 360-degree view of the customer, which help us to enable us to deliver the a better service in a faster way, in a smarter way, and in a more personalized way. Because nowadays you does not have to go to the service center, you does not have to go there and you have to register your complaint. You can directly call to their centers, or you can directly raise your tickets, or nowadays people can also raise a ticket through the email address, as well as you can directly raise your queries through the live chatbots, because nowadays people and companies are using more chatbots functionality, where you can log into company website. Over there you can chat to the bot, and that bot automatically get your query registered inside a company website, and then from the company website it automatically travel to the Salesforce database. So that's how this all journey begin and end inside a Service Cloud. So in the Service Cloud, like we have, these are the pillars which are mainly focused. First of all, there is a case. Case is a main object, which is an inbuilt functionality inside a Service Cloud. Then we have a solution. It is again another object. Whatever it's written here, it's a pillar of the Service Cloud. Case, solutions. Then we have knowledge articles. Then we have communities like self-service communities, where we can host information for the customers, and then customer can log in and customer can directly create a ticket or raise a issues over there, and we can capture those information inside a Salesforce. Excuse me. And then we have a console. We have a console application inside a Salesforce, which I'm going to show you just now. Then we have a social media. We also have a concept like live agent, how we can configure the live agent inside a Service Cloud, which I'm going to tell you in my fourth session. uh, so these are the main pillars. Like if anybody want to have a good understanding about the Service Cloud, he or should she should know about these pillars, like what is case, what is solution, what is knowledge, what is communities, and so on. Why Service Cloud? We know that we just gone through the small definition what is Service Cloud, but why Salesforce introduced Service Cloud? Because nowadays, like companies is not focusing only on selling. Because if you want to sell your product or services for the customer at one time, you good to go with the Sales Cloud. But if you want to maintain your pipeline, if you want to maintain your customer relationship with the existing customer as well as the new prospect customers, then you should focus more on the service. Irrespective of whether you are B2C or B2B domain, you will have a several customer raising tickets and query on a regular basis. So you should have a mechanism, or you should have a system or a agent who can solve those queries and tickets on a timely manner. Excuse me, I have a little bit cough and cold right now. So this is why Service Cloud needed inside a Salesforce. That's why the Salesforce introduced the Service Cloud. So now I'm going to show you like what is the Service Cloud setup. First of all, how we can set up, and how where we have to navigate to get the Service Cloud benefits and out of the box functionalities. Uh, for that, I'm going to log in into my org. This is my Trailhead. I'm assuming that all people are know about the Trailhead. You have a playground over there, so you can just create your any playground over there. I believe that up to 10 playground you can create at a time. So just create one playground and just launch that playground. So here you have to go on the nine dots. In the 9 dots, you have to just search for the Service Console. This is your Service Console. Uh, it's a console application. What is the benefit of console application? Let me just show you like what is the actual benefit of console application. In console application, like whatever tabs you're going to open, whatever record you're going to open, it does not uh, open in a new tab or in a new window. You just click it, and then it automatically open the another tab in the same window, and it automatically show all the information related to the record. And then if you want to open a like account from here, then you can just select your account, and then here you can open your account. which are related to the case, and then account is automatically going to open into the another window. So this is the console application benefit. What is the normal application work here? Like if I go to the sales application, and if I open any tab here, like suppose I'm opening the case tab. So the case tab is open, and then once I click on this button, it open the record. It open the record, but uh, it does not. If I want to open a account record, and if I also want to uh, case record information, then I am going to go here, and then I'm going to select the record. So my case in record information is lost over there. So I am in the account record, then I have to go back to the case record, and then I have to click again. So it's like uh, in the normal application, like you have to click on a record, and then you have to go there, and then you have to come back again, and then you have to click back again. So that is the benefit we get in the console application. We does not have to go back and forth. We can see all the information in one window. Like I can see the account information here, and I can see the case information here. If I want to open any other information, if I want to open a contact information, I can open the contact information here directly. So I does not have to click on the tab, and then I have to go back and then come back again. It's not like that. So in the service console applications, we can view all the information in one window. You can just click on that tab, and you have the all information related to the account, related to the cases, related to the contact, or if you have any other um, objects or tabs here, you can directly open here. So your home tab is automatically going to open here. So you can, from the home tab, you can go to the case tab, and so on. Another benefit or another feature is like in the console application, it have a spirit view functionality, where you can see a lot of information, like your case detail information, your contact information, your detail page, as well as your related documents, and so on. So you have a much broader view of in the console application, which normally you does not get in the normal applications. So this is the service console setup we just saw. You just have to click on 9 dot, and over there you have to just search for the service console application. Now from here onwards, if anybody have any issue, or if anybody have any questions, they can ask in a chat window, because from here onwards the real journey going to start, where I'm going to perform some hands-on demos related to the case management. And from here onwards you have to focus more, because case management is like a very complex part of the service cloud. If anybody, it's very easy to understand, but if you miss any point, because it have a lot of configuration things. First of all, it does not have any code, it just have some configurations, so you have to just memorize those configuration, that's all. So the case management, if I'm asking what is the case management, like in a layman term, like case management means like customer having issues, and they raise a ticket inside a Salesforce, and we are capturing those information, and after capturing those information we are trying to solve those issues. This is the layman term language, which case management is. But inside a Salesforce, like it's not about just raising the tickets inside a Salesforce and then just solve the issues. It's much more than that. Like to to create those queries, to capture those tickets inside a Salesforce, we have a lot of mechanism nowadays. But these two are the main uh, companies are using right now. Email to case and web to case, these are the two different channels which almost 92% companies are using right now to capture those case information inside a Salesforce. So I'm going to show you like how to set up email to case and how to set up a web to case. This is the different channels for customers, how we can capture those tickets or issues inside a Salesforce as a case record. And then once we capture those information inside a Salesforce, we're gonna look forward like how we can do the automation, how we can set up the automation so that we does not have to click anywhere. It automatically capture inside a Salesforce, and then it automatically get assigned to the user. It automatically get escalated after a certain time period, and then it automatically send auto response rule to the customer. So which I'm going to show you like later on. So first of all, we're going to see like how we can set up email to case. Like nowadays people generally aware that every company have a email ID where they can contact, and once they contact to the company, company capture their information. So similar functionality Salesforce introduced inside a Service Cloud, where we can register our email address, and whenever somebody send an email on that email ID, we can capture the information as a case record. How we gonna do that? Uh, I'm going to show you like how we can do that. So to do that, you have to click on Service Setup. Right now I'm in a service console. That's why you can see here like service setup. We also have a one more setup, but we are on the Service Cloud right now. So whatever I'm going to, whenever I say setup, it means like service setup. So in the service setup, you have to search for email, email to case. So once you select that email to setup, you will have a this kind of window. Let me just pull it over. This kind of window, which just says that what it means. Like with Salesforce, you can efficiently resolve and correspond with customer inquiries via email. It's just a little bit information, so you just have to click "Don't show me on this page" and click on "Continue." Here we have a, like two different kind of mechanism email to case. First of all, on-demand email to case, and second one is email to case. So whenever you have like on-demand email to case is mainly for like if you have attachment like less than 25 MBs, so you can choose a on-demand email to case, on-demand email to case, where you can get these benefits. Define email address on your email system for case submission. Create email routing address for that includes the address defined for cases, and so on. And email to case, like you have to set up a email agent over there. You also have to set up a firewall, network firewall, which can whitelist your email address, and whatever email address email you get from the outside, you have to whitelist those email address systems. And then you have to define the routing address configuration. It is much more complex, but it's suitable for the large organization where like millions of emails coming on a daily basis. Then on that time, like email to case is more proficient. If you have a like a small organization or mid-level organization where you get like 500 or 1000 or 2000 or 5000 email per day, then on demand email to case is suitable for that kind of organizations. So this is the just a little bit difference, but in the help documents you will find more like but normally people work on this on demand email to case, which I'm going to tell you like in details. For this one you can go to the help documents, because we hardly get this kind of requirement where we have to set up the network firewalls, we have to set up the agent, live agent, we have to set up the routing configuration, email routing address. This one like we normally get on a daily basis. So to do that, just click on edit. After clicking the edit, first of all you have to enable the email to case. And then if you want to notify on every new email, if you want to notify the owner, you can click on. If you want to enable the HTML email, you can enable it. So these are the setting configuration if you want to enable it. And these two are the main ones, like insert thread ID in the email subject, or insert thread ID in the email body. If you thread ID means like whenever a customer have emailed us, we we create a case record. But again, if customer sending the email with the same email ID, I should not create another case record. I should tag the email, the second email with the existing one, the existing case. So to do that, I have to select these two options. uh, this thread id is represent that it's already created a case, and it's going to attach with the existing case. Is it not going to create another case record inside a Salesforce? So this is more crucial. If you want to send thread id in the body, you can select this one. If you want to send thread id in the subject, you can select this one. And once you done that, just click on the enable on demand services, and on the failure response setting, you can bounce the email, you can discard the message, you can queue them. So by default, it bounce, and whenever we have unauthorized sender actions, we can discard those messages. So I'm just going to save here. So after saving, we have another column here like routing address, which I'm going to click here, and I'm going to create a support team, and here I'm going to provide my email address just for the testing purpose. So I have created, I am adding my email address. If I want to save email headers, I can save it here. If I want to create a whitelist of the email, like from where I can accept the emails, I can provide the domains here. Like I can only accept the emails from the Google or from the Microsoft. I can define those lists here. It says here like enable on demand email case enables this fields, leave this field blank if you want on demand email case to receive email from any email address or domain. If you want to accept all the email address from the world, then you does not provide any list here. If you want from the specific ones, you can provide the list here. If you want to create a task upon creating a case record, you can define here, but I'm not going to create a task here. And these are the case setting, like once the case record is created, to whom I should assign the case, whether it is queue or it is a user. So for user, I'm just going to select my name. Whenever a case is created, it should be assigned to me. And the case should be medium, and it should be from email. So these are the predefined values I'm setting here, and I'm creating a save. So I already created a email address here. So that's why it's saying that uh, you should use a different email address. So I'm going to use a different email address here. And once, so just remember about those email address which you are going to use it. You cannot use that email address, uh, which email address you have used to create your Trailhead account. Otherwise, it does not get accepted. So you have to use another one. So I have just used the another one. After adding that email address, it says that verify this email address. So to verify, you have to click this button. It going to open the another page, and it asking that email routing address verification. So you have to click on continue. Once you click on continue, it automatically send the verification code on your email ID. So let's just log into that. So I'm going to log into my account. So I just logged in into my account, and if you does not find your email verification email, you have to check for the spam folder as well. Sometime it fall into the spam folder, so you have to check it in that folder as well. If you does not get, just click back again, and just open the page again, and then okay, hold on. Email address A is missing. Hmm. Now it's okay. Now verify. Just make sure like whatever email address you are putting over there, you have to check the spelling, otherwise you will not get the verification code here. So as you can see, I got the verification code. As I click here, it automatically verifying the email address. It says that email changed. Thank you for verifying the email address. When I click continue, it verify the email address. So right now this says verify, and as I refresh it, it says verified. So now my email ID is verified from the Salesforce. I can create a case record through this email ID. So this is the long email ID, you have to use it. And uh, I can send the email. I can create the case using this email ID. So just to create the case, the how we send the email to the another person, we just have to send in the two, you have to paste your long tag email ID, and then you have to cases from email, please resolve, and just send. I have sent the email, and case record should get created. Cases from email I just created. This is the case record I just created from the email. This is the email record get created from the email ID, the email ID we have used. So we have successfully configured the email to case. Now you all guys are thinking that this is long email ID. So generally we get this long email ID. We have to set up a forwarding email ID. How to set up that forwarding email ID? You just have to go to your email ID setup, and over there you have to click on setting, and here you have to set up a forward email ID, and here you have to paste that email ID. So you have to copy this long email ID and you have to paste it here. I already set up, so I'm going to remove the previous one, and then I'm going to add the new one. So I'm setting the email ID forwarding system in the Gmail, and you have just to click proceed. After you click the proceed, a case record should get created inside a Salesforce. This is the case record automatically get created because it's testing our forwarding email ID with the Salesforce, whether we are able to generate the case record. So once the case record is generated with that forwarding email ID, you have one verification code here. You have to copy this and you have to submit that verification code here. So you have to copy that verification code and you have to submit that verification code here, and then you have to verify. So it verified that thing. It verified in use. Once you get in use, it means like it verified that forwarding email ID, and then you are good to go. You just have to click on save changes. So once you click on save changes, it says that your forwarding email to Krishna Watson, this email ID, and in 7 days it automatically set as a forwarding email ID. Gmail take, like free Gmail account takes 7 days. If you have a business Gmail account, then it will take only 24 hours to set up a forwarding email ID. So that's how you can set up a forwarding email IDs, as well as that's how you set up the email to case. Vishal, am I audible?
Yes, Krishan, you are audible.
Yeah. Uh, Please let me know like if anybody have any issues or queries related to the email to case. If anybody want to ask anything, they can unmute right now and they can or they can just type in a chat window. I will resolve those queries after the session. So let's move on to the web to case. We just set up a email to case, and how we can set up the web to case. Web to case is simple. Again, we are capturing those information inside a Salesforce through the company website or through the web portals or through the community portals, like how we can set up a web to case. So to do that, again, you have to go to the setup, service setup. Over there, you have to search for web to case. And here you have to enable the web to case setting. And if you want to use a reCAPTCHA verification, you can turn on. I'm not going to use a reCAPTCHA verification, so I'm not going to use this one. If you want to send a response email, like auto response rule, whenever the case is created through the website, you can set up a auto response template. If you want to hide the record information after the cases get created, you can hide it. You can also set up your email signature. So once you do that, just save it. And here we have one more tab, web to case HTML generator. So here we have to define the field, like what fields information I have to capture through the website. So I'm going to capture email, phone number, subject, and what is the description of their issues. So these are the information I'm going to capture. I'm not going to use a reCAPTCHA verification. I'm going to use only English language. If you have different languages, you can use it. For now, I'm going to use only English. And here you have to provide a URL where you want to redirect the customer after clicking on submit button. So you can define that URL or domain. I'm going to redirect to the google.com and then just click on generate. So people people who are from HTML and JavaScript background, they know that what it is. It's a plain HTML form. If I'm going to show you like how it look like, so just notepad, open your notepad. Once you open your notepad, just paste whatever code you have over there. Just paste in the notepad and just click on save as and save it anywhere. With the extension .html or .htm, you can save it. And once you save it, you just close it. And after close it, you just have a HTML page and just click on that page. So you have that HTML code generated from the Salesforce, you have this page. So once you can put this web page anywhere on your company portal, company website. Right now it's look ugly because I did not perform any CSS or any JavaScript, which I'm just going to show you in a minute. I'm just going to show you like once the customer visit to your website, and here they can fill their information. Like here they can fill their information, KRT, gmail.com, then phone number 44444, subject having issues with my iPhone, please resolve, and click on submit. Once I click on submit, it automatically redirect me to the Google page because I have set up that Google page as a landing page after hitting the submit button. So once I created that one, I can go here and I can refresh my window. You can see that I'm successfully able to create a case record with the website having issues with my iPhone. Please try to resolve it. So that's how you can. It's pretty simple. You just have to generate the HTML and then you have to paste it anywhere in your website. How you can do the beautification and how you can put it on your website for just for the demo purpose. I have one pretty simple HTML form. This is the HTML form. I'm going to use it as a beautification. And to create a uh, beautification, you just have to uh, create any CSS or anything, which I'm going to remove it from here, and I paste it whatever I have generated through the website, and I click on submit. So that's how I just created the web to case page through just for copy and pasting, and CSS automatically get applied. You can find a lot of CSS or web pages on the over the net. I'm just showing the way like how you can create it, and after creating you just grt gmail.com, and then you have to put it, and then another query from website, please solve before time, and then click on submit. So once you click on submit, it automatically a case record, again a case record get created inside a Salesforce. Another query form website, that case record automatically get created inside a Salesforce. So that's how you can generate a HTML through the web to case, and then you can create a beautification using the CSS and other stuffs. There are a lot of beautification tools over the net. You can use it. If anybody know the JavaScript, they can perform the JavaScript as well as in this HTML form. Only that this information is very crucial. Does not change any information in this block because it contain your org ID, your email ID, your org credentials. So does not change this thing. Otherwise you would not able to create a case record through the website. So does not change this thing. You can change whatever you have to change. You can change it from input, whatever input field you have to change, whatever CSS you want to put, but does not change org ID and one more thing, the post method. The people who know about the HTML and JavaScript, they know that what is happening here. So this is the web to case, a small example. Before moving to the automation of the case management, uh, Vishal, we have any queries related to the different channels? Uh,
Yes, Krishan, we have some questions. Can you please go to the chat?
yeah, sure. Okay, let's just take a 5 minute and try to see like what are the queries audience have. We can log case from Sales Cloud. Also, then why we need Service Cloud? Good question. I'm going to tell you just now. Let's go on top. Customer support, we can handle ticket tool. Okay. Provide support. Okay. One-to-one relationship with every customer on multiple channels. Okay. Collection of objects and solve to support. Okay. Okay. We can log case from the sales cloud also. Then why we need service cloud? Okay. It's a good question. Like sales cloud is mainly used for the selling department. Like whatever selling procedure company have follow, like whatever opportunities, as you know that sales cloud main objects are lead, opportunities, account, contacts, and so on. Case does not have to be a part of the sales cloud, it's a part of the service cloud. You can create a you can log a case record through the sales cloud, but after just generating the case record, how you going to initiate your omni channels, how you going to initiate your queue functionalities, how you going to initiate your assignment rules, because assignment rules is only applicable on the case object. You can get the case object in sales cloud, but you would not get proper out of the box functionality in the sales cloud. You have to switch on to the service cloud, because service cloud have much more capabilities like omni channels, live agents. So whenever you generate the case record in service cloud, you have much more capabilities like to handling those cases inside a omni channels, inside a live agents. You get all the details inside other stuff as well, like now we have a chat bots also, embedded chatbots. We have Einstein bot as well, where we can capture those case information. So that is why service cloud have much more broader aspect of the just creating a case record. uh, that's what I suggest. Like you can generate a sales case record inside a sales cloud, but you would not get any like much more capabilities inside a sales cloud. Sales cloud is mainly for the sales purpose. If you want to track your queries separately, if you want to maintain other system with your query database, query capturing the tickets and then solving those tickets and then so on, then you should go for the service cloud. Otherwise, if you're going to do that in sales cloud, then you're going to mix it up all the things, like then you would not get differentiate like where my sales process is going, where my service process is going. Because that's why Salesforce feel this drawback when they have a sales cloud. That's why they introduce the service cloud separately, so that people can do separate things inside a service cloud and in the sales cloud. In the real world scenario, cases are raised by customer via email and web, from form or community. It's managed under service cloud. Yeah, it is managed under service cloud. You does not have to do anything. Like what I just showed you, email to case and web to case, I does not write any code over there. I just perform some setup activities and I just good to go. And just with few of setup things, I am able to create a case record inside a Salesforce in Service Cloud. And the same form, same email, you can put in on the community as well. And through the community, customer can log in and customer can raise ticket from there. I will show you in my fourth session, like how customer can raise ticket through the community. Create the custom lightning component for internal user of the Salesforce. So how to store the chat information of the internal user for last 6 months. I does know that we can store the chat information inside a Salesforce, because chat is another again a object. Whenever we set up a live agent configuration, or on that time we have to define the chat and chat button also. So I'm not sure like we can able to store the up to 6 month internal user chat informations, but I would love to deep deep down on it, and I will go through the help documents and I will let you know whether it is possible or not. uh, just ping me on my Twitter handler or LinkedIn, so I will update you like with this. Up to 6 month I'm not sure, like, but up to 48 hours chat information you can store, but I have to dig down and I will let you know about that. How to map custom fields of case from email body. How to map custom fields of case from email body. Okay, so whenever you get email from the customer, you have to map the information uh, in your custom fields. So that's you does not have to map anything. Let me just show you. Whenever you generate any case here, you remember that I have to choose the fields. So whenever you choose the field, you can choose your custom field over there, and you does not have to map it. It automatically map it for you. Whenever the uh, customer email to you, it automatically map it for you. And or you can do like what you can do like you can also write a logic over there to map those fields. But I does not get any requirement till now to map it fields from the email because we does not have any functionality. To do that, you have to write a Apex email services in the Apex class. You have to do that. You have to write those things. You have to write a separate logic for that. What else we have? Uh, for this, you have to write a custom email messaging services to map the fields from the email. By default, you will get this functionality. If you want to uh, put some customization, then you have to write a separate Apex email services service, which are the custom classes, standard custom classes from the Salesforce, and then you have to map it the fields over there. I think email will show as related list under case. Correct. Mapping is done when we use web to case. If really need to map, yeah, the mapping is done in the web to case scenario. But email to case, it automatically get created the record whatever you write it in a subject. That subject is automatically going to be the subject of the case, and whatever you write it in a body, that body is automatically go into the description. So you does not have any choice over there. If you want, you have to write a custom Apex email services. Over there you can define like what field you want to map it to which field, because over there we have much more control, like how details will be mapped in different case fields from email. You cannot map it's out of the box functionality. You have to write the custom email service Apex classes for that. Console app offer better navigation. Correct. Single window to all view. Correct. Helping service agent. Thanks Basil. If thread id is deleted in response to email by customer, then a new will be created for it. Can convert will be automatically. Case the thread ID you cannot delete. The thread ID you cannot delete. Even the customer is not going to delete it because it's in. So that's why it's better to put it in a subject. Does not put it in a body, because in body customer can delete that thread ID, and once it's deleted, then whenever he or she going to email to us, that new case record is getting created. So always try to put that thread ID in the subject. Can contact will be automatically linked to case created by email and web. For to link the case record contact record to the case, you have to whenever you generate a web to case, over there you have to define the contact field as well. So you have to define for web to case a contact field. For the email field, you can link the case with the same email ID. With the case you can link it. If any attachment sent via email, will it get attached to the case? Correct. Yeah, up to 25 MB, it automatically get attached to the case record. More than 25 MB, then you have to set up a agent firewall as well as the routing address configuration. For an email, this is being responded by the customer. If will be treated as new combination. Thank you, Basil, once again. Yeah, that is correct. So I hope that whatever queries we have till now, most of them are resolved. So let's move on to the automation part, like how whatever we did just now, we have set up the email to case and web to case. Now we're going to uh, do the automation part. Once the case is record get created, I already showed you like what are the different channels we have, email to case and web to case. Now these are the tools of case automation. First we have a queue, second assignment rule, third auto escalation rule, and fourth is auto response rule. What are queues? Queues you can understand like it's a prioritize, distribute, and assign record to team who share workload. Queues are similar, like you can consider like it's a you can say that it's a distributed, prioritize, and assign records to the team who share the same workload at a time. A queue member can jump into any record from the queue and take the ownership of that record. Or if all the queue member are busy, then whenever any queue member get free, the case is automatically they can assign it to their name. Or if you have a right routing configuration setup, it automatically get assigned to the user depending on the situation and depending on the routing configuration which you have set up for the queue. They are available for case. The queue is only available for case, contact, requested, lead, order, and custom object, and the service contract. So these are the objects you will get the queue functionalities. To see the queue in action, you just have to go here and you have to write it queue, and here you will see the queues. Right now it does not have any queue, so let's create a queue. High priority, and then if I want to assign a queue email, I can send it. If I want to send an email to the member, whoever member is going to be part of this queue, I can send the email to them. And I'm going to assign only for case. This is the object, and user I'm going to assign to myself as well as the let's take it the integration user as well, and then save it. So your queue is created. So that's how you create a queue. Once your queue is created, whenever the case record is created inside a Salesforce, whether it is from the web to case, whether it is from email to case, or whether from UI, you are going to create a case record, to whom you should assign the case. So every time you does not have to click anywhere, and then you have to make a system automatic. So to do that, you have to first set up your queues. If you're having the less number of agents and more number of cases, then you should define a queue over there. Once the queue is defined, whenever the uh, case is generated inside a Salesforce, then we have to assignment rule for that. Once the case record is generated inside a Salesforce, I want to assign that case to my queue. To do that, we have another feature, assignment rule. Assignment rule simple means like whenever a case record or lead record created inside a Salesforce, you can define the lead assignment rule or a case assignment rule for the user as well as for the queue. Use case assignment rule to determine how cases are assigned to the user or put into the queues. So to do that, let's just set up the assignment rule. We already created a queue. Let's set up for the assignment rules. So we have to search for the case assignment rule, and then at a time only one assignment rule can be active. So right now it's active, it's a standard one. So I'm going to create my own testing, and I'm going to make it active and saving. So this auto assignment rule is automatically get active, and this one is inactive. So let's just create some rule entries here. Create a new and then set order one. And whenever a case origin is equal to email, whenever a record get created with the origin of email, I want to assign that case to my queue. And I have one queue which is high priority, and I can set up a email template. I'm just taking a uh, any email template just for the demo purpose. And if I want to select like predefined case team, if I have a case team, I can select it here and I can assign to them and just save it. So I already set up a assignment rule. Let's just test the assignment rule. So the email and then subject testing queue cases, resolve it. My assignment rule is active. Excuse me. You have to create a edit page here. You have to set up one checkbox for the case record to work the assignment rule. Click on case, go to the object manager, and then go to the case page layout. Here you have to search for the case layout. And here you have to search for buttons. Not buttons, it's a field. Okay, I already set up. Somebody create a new case via email. Basil says create via email. Hmm. Testing case for email. Actually, I have I'm checking. It should be here. The checkbox button should be here. There should be a one checkbox here. Let me just, I have another trail mixes where I have set up properly. And in email to case, make sure the origin is email. Yeah, I did already. Hmm. So whenever you create a cases, it automatically get assigned. Not sure, not assigning this time. Let me just make sure like my testing assignment tool is working properly. Whenever case origin is equal to email, high priority email. So I have created a case from email, but it automatically going to assign to me. Let me just check it. What is happening? Whether that high priority queues is coming or not. Okay, it's coming. All right. Okay, the button is now here. So whenever you set up that assignment rule, uh, you will get, if you are creating the cases from UI, you will get this button, assign using active assignment rule. So let's just create one case working, and case origin should be email, and then assignment rule testing resolve, and then click this button and then save it. So your assignment rule is going to be fire once you click that button, and it automatically assigned to that queue. So that is what I'm looking right now. Whenever you set up a assignment rule, you will get this checkbox, assign using active assignment rule. If you are not getting this assignment rule button, until that your assignment rule is not going to fire automatically. You have to maybe the it taking time to show on the UI. Whenever you're creating the cases from the UI, maybe it taking time, not sure. So that's how it's work. So you have to, whenever you create a record from UI, you have to click this button and then and now it's automatically set up. So if I'm going to fire the email from here, and that case is automatically get assigned to the queue because I have assignment rule set up. But if you are creating from the UI, then you have to select that button. That is mandatory if you are going to click it from the UI. So after the assignment rule is set up, queues are set up. We have created a case and it automatically get assigned to my queue. After the assigning the queue, if any one of my agent is not able to resolve the case within a time, I want to escalate the case to the another agent, or maybe to the same agent, or maybe to the manager to resolve on a timely manner. So to do that, for that, I can set up a escalation rule case. It should be escalation rules. Again, only one rule can be active in the escalation rule. So you have to define one rule, demo one, and then you have to click on active. Again, you have to define the rule entry criterias when the case should be escalated. Like, so we can define the rule entry criteria. Here you have to define the order, and then here you have to define like whenever the case origin equals to web. After that, you have to define the business hours when the case escalation should happen, maybe in business hours, or whenever. Specify how escalation time are set. Escalation time, how we going to set it? When the case is created, or whenever the case record is created and disabled after the case is first modified. means whenever the case record is created and after a few time it get modified first time, on that time I have to calculate the escalation time or based on the last modification time. So just for the demo purpose, I'm just leaving as it is and just save. So once you save the escalation rule, you have the escalation action. So when my case should escalate, I need to define an action. So to define an action, I'm going to take 30 minutes. If within 30 minutes my agent is not going to solve the case, I should escalate my case to the another manager. Now I have to assign it. I can assign to the queue or maybe any particular user. So I'm again going to assign to the queue and I'm going to notify to the all queue member and then save it. So the my escalation rule are set up, my escalation actions are set up. So whenever the case is created, if the agent is not get or resolve that case, resolving means like that case status. The case status is working right now, and if it is in working state up to 30 minutes, it means like nobody is working on that case. It automatically get escalated and it automatically get assigned to the queue again. And from the queue, any user can take the ownership of that record and work on it. Or if I want to assign it to any particular user, I can do that while defining the escalation action. So that's how the escalation works. Auto response rule means like whenever the case is record captured inside a Salesforce, we want to send an email to the customer saying that thank you for your queries. We will try to solve your queries within 48 hours and within 38 hours or so on. So to do that we have again auto response rule, case auto response rule, and then you can create your auto response rule here. Same like again only one auto response rule can be active at a time, and here you can define like your rule entry criteria. Whenever a case record is created, any rule entry criteria you can define. I'm just defining like whenever the case origin is from phone, I want to send an auto response rule. I can define the name here. I can define the email address here. And I can define the email template here. I'm just taking the email template for a demo purpose. Send response to all recipient. If I want to send an all recipient an email, I can check this box and I can save it. I think this is the invalid email and it captured automatically. So you cannot provide an invalid email address. You have to provide a valid email address. To do that, let me just provide my this email address and save it. Mm, Invalid from email address. Okay, let me just take it different email address. Hmm. So my auto response rule are set up. So whenever the case is created with the origin of phone, that this email template is automatically going to fire to the customer email ID or the email ID of that person who is having that information. So that's how we can set up the auto response rule. And whenever the case record is going to create inside a Salesforce, it automatically fire the auto response rule. We just did the tools of demonstration, like how we can set up the case automation. For to set up the case automation, we can create a queue, and then whenever the case is record is created, we can assign that case to the queue. And once the case is created inside Salesforce, we can fire the auto response rule for the customer. And once the auto response rule fired and agent is not able to solve the queries, we can escalate the case using the escalation rule. So that's it. That is the whole automation process for the case management. How we can create a queue, how we can set up assignment rule, how we can set up a escalation rule and auto response rule. That's how we can set up all four things which are provided by the service cloud right now. Any QA, uh, if anybody have any queries, they can unmute themselves and they can ask directly. If not, they can put it in a chat window. Vishal, could you please help me? Like,
Yes, Krishan. Just a minute. The question which we got is when case is solved, then where we get solved cases.
uh, could you please speak again?
Yeah, the question is
This is
when case is solved, then where we get solved cases.
okay. Solve cases does not mean here like, uh, let me just show you. Solve cases does not mean like we get those cases. You go to this case and here you have all open cases. Open cases means the cases which agent have to work. All closed cases means the case is closed, means like we have resolved the queries and all case status is closed now. So you does not have to work on those cases again. You have closed the cases. Whatever queries you get it inside a Salesforce, you work on it and you set that status as a closed. It means like case is resolved now. That's it what mean.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Another question which we have is what if the case is created via email? How can we select these checkboxes?
The checkbox means like you are asking about this checkbox assign using active assignment rule, correct? No,
Uh,
when, if you are going to create the case through the UI, then you have to select by default. You have to select it on every time whenever you create a case through the UI. If you are
let,
going,
let
if
me check if the he's or available or not
let
so that I
me,
can unmute. Just let me.
yeah, not getting.
Yeah, Jasmina, you can ask your question now.
Yeah, hello, hi. So the question is, when the case is created via email, so not from the UI,
Hmm,
from the email, so how
hmm.
do we select those
No, you
checkboxes?
does not have to select the checkbox. It automatically going to assign to the queue. I'm just showing this checkbox through the UI because
Oh, okay.
whenever you define any rules inside a Salesforce, it take time to populate those rules over the UI as well as over in the backend database. It does not get activated simultaneously, so you have to wait. If you saw me doing the hands-on in the
Uh,
beginning, it does not show this button here because it's populating behind the scene. Once it's get populated, it automatically show here. So when you creating through the UI, you have to select it. You does not have any options. Or if you want to do the automation through the UI, you have to write a trigger over there. You have to select this checkbox whenever the new case entry is going to happen inside a Salesforce. But whenever you fire that cases from the email, it automatically assign that case to the queue or user which you have defined in your assignment rule. You does not have to select over there because you does not have any mechanism to select that checkbox in the email. It automatically work over there because we have defined that whenever the case is created through the email.
okay.
Yeah, I'm just showing you this through the UI so you can remember that there is a checkbox which we need to check whenever we created a case through the UI. But whenever you create a case through the email, through the web, all your validations, all your required field checkbox, system validation, automatically work on those case record. You does not have to select anything.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah. Another question is we have what in case if it is created from email? I think let me unmute Melishora. Just a minute.
Let me check what else we have. Cases.
Yeah. Hi, Melishora.
The same
Yeah.
question, Kishan, the same question.
Okay. So you are asking the same question. Okay.
Yeah, the previous one. Yes.
Okay. That's great. Thanks. Okay. Can we show escalation clock on list view page?
No, that is not an escalation clock on the list view page. It's a milestone tracker, which track the time on the case record. Or if you want to build it your custom lightning component, you can build it for the escalation rule. You can create it, or if you want to use it the milestone tracker, you can use the milestone tracker as well to calculate the time over the case record, which I'm going to show you in my second session, like how we can show the milestone tracker on the case where it calculate the time. I will show you in my second session.
Okay, sure. The last question which we have is if case is not picked up for 48 hours, how manager can know about it? Auto response or the escalation rule?
No, whenever we are defining the escalation rule, if you remember, like let me just go to the escalation rule. So whenever you're defining the escalation rule, here you have uh, whenever you're defining the rule, if you remember that uh, here here I have auto reassigning case. I'm assigning the case to the queue and I'm notifying the email template. And if I want to assign to the user, a particular user, like in your case it's a manager, so I can select that manager here and I can notify that manager simultaneously, or I can notify the case owner as well, as that this case is escalated to this user. As so you have the functionality here, like you can select any user or any queue or any member of the team and you can notify that member with the email template.
Okay. I hope Ajay, we are able to solve your query. So
Auto response rule does not work here. Auto response rule only work for the customer cases. Like whenever the customer created send information to us, we have to send the thank you email to the customer saying that thank you for your query. Our agent will solve your issues within 48 hours. Auto response rules only work for the customer scenario. But whenever we talk about the internal team like manager or executive, only the notification templates, like if we want to notify to the users or managers, only that time this thing work. Auto response rule does not work here. So in escalation rule you have to define to whom you should notify whenever the case is escalated to any user.
okay. Yeah. Thanks, Krishan, for such a wonderful and amazing session. I hope everybody likes the session and enjoyed it. So, Krishan, are we good with the assignment part?
Yeah, for the assignment part, let me just assignment part, what you have to do, like you have to set up a email to case, because web to case is much tougher, because you have to, so just set up with your email id email to case in your org, and then after setting up you have to set up the assignment rule with your name. Whenever the case is created with the email, that case is automatically going to assign to your name. That is the task you have to perform, and you have to record the live video, and then you have to put it on your Google Drive and you have to share the Google Drive link with us.
Prashant, what you are asking, the resources link in the chat box. Okay.
Okay. I have pasted the resources link in the chat window.
Krishan, Manjot Singh Sindhu is asking, can you please share just a minute? What is? Can you please type the
Okay.
assignment slide? Okay.
You have to set up email to case
And
and then set up an assignment rule with your username. That's it. You have to set up an email to case with your registered email ID, which you have registered with this session. You have to register your email ID with that, and you have to set up an email to case with that, and then you have to create one assignment rule. Whenever the case is created with the email, you have to assign that case to your name. That's it.
Krishan, can you please stop sharing my screen? Let me clear the rules.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, if you are not, if you are unaware about the rules, let me share my screen to clear you the rules to win the Salesforce certification voucher and the how you need to shoot your video. Krishan, please correct me if I am getting wrong in some places. So in the video, you need to mention you need to focus on these 3 points. What was the use case for which you shoot the video? So you need to mention why you are shooting the video, what you have done to complete the assignment with proper demonstration of solution you have provided against the use case, how was the assignment and what's your feedback regarding this session. And we need the full screen recording with the current timing. You need to upload the recording on your Google Drive with a separate today's session folder and share the edit access with us. And now I am going to share you the Google form link, which you need to complete, which you need to fill and submit it to us. So these are the rules. If anybody has any doubt, just please ask.
Anybody can unmute and they can share whatever they like about the session, or whatever how long their journey been now, and what motivating them to learn about the Salesforce more and more. Like,
Krishan, the first link is missing. The service basic creator customer channels from the resources.
okay, let me just, I think copy nahi hua hoga.
Yeah. Manjot, we have already shared the assignment. Just a minute.
I have pasted in the chat
Yeah.
assignment.
Okay. I am sharing this Google form link. Just a minute. Here is the Google form, which you need to fill and submit it to us with the Google Drive folder link with edit access. So if you have any query and you would like to ask, you can ask with us.
If anybody want to share anything, they can unmute and they can talk.
If anyone wants to share your
And
feedback.
one more thing about Vishal.
Mhm,
Basil is helping us out a lot, because I
mhm.
can see that he or she, I'm not sure, he is helping us to solve the queries, as well as uh, I have seen his effort in previous session as well.
Okay.
So thanks a lot, Basil.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vasil, for all of your efforts you are doing for the Trailblazer community, the Salesforce owner.
Mm.
Is anyone having any issue regarding the Google form or the assignment? I think everyone are good with the assignment or the Google form link. Anyone wants to share the feedback? Kishan, would you like to share, means how he can or she can record the screen?
Yeah, there are few software which allow you to record the session up to like 15 or 20 minutes. Uh, there are free cam, one software name. If you want to go for the paid one, there are AW recorders, or you can go to the uh, there's an online site which record the video for up to like 15 minutes. You can search it on online, so you can get it over there. Just write on the Google record screen online and you will get the first link of that website, so you can record it and you can upload on your Google Drive. And the software I'm using, it's a FreeCam 8.0.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kishan, for sharing this knowledge with us.
uh, thank you guys for your efforts, and on Sunday basis you are taking time to join our sessions. First of all, appreciate it, and stay together. uh, Spread your knowledge. Whenever you learn anything new, just spread in the community, and that is the secret to grow in life.
Yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining today's session. And thank you so much, Krishan, for sharing your knowledge with us. It was a great and wonderful session. So have a great day. Have a happy weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay at home. By the message, we are good to wrap up the session. Bye for today. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.